I got a call and it was like, Sash, I'm so sorry, I don't have anyone for you this season. And it hurts because, you know, you give everything. Looked at my phone and it just said Jenn Tran, Jenn Tran, Jenn Tran, Jenn Tran, like literally on social media, just boom, boom, boom. And I was like, you win a competition, you do this, you do that, then you're in the open and you win that and you're like, okay, this is great. And then I was top 2 in Australia, and then...
Did you plan out a freestyle for you and Jenn?
I did. And I was like, no. Yes, from the movie.
Now that the season's over, what's a typical day in your life?
Wow, a typical day in my life. Love dogs, love cooking. I tend to do a lot of research and just dance. I have a lot of conventions coming up, so I kind of want to just get inspired on new things. But once the season's over, it's like a big break, because you've been going from 0 to 100, like literally going 100 miles an hour, and then all the emails stop, everything stops, and you're like, I want to just keep going. So I think for me personally, it's important to just keep moving. And I have my beautiful dogs to keep me active. And again, like just dancing, I have this like little office in my house with a big mirror, and I'm constantly trying to just move my body. And cooking. I love cooking. That's like one of my favorite things, especially during the season. Like when you're stressed and you're on the move, sometimes I would just love to cook, because in Australia, like our food is such an art. Like when you sit down at any restaurant or any like cafe, it is like placed on a plate and it is like beautiful. Everything is colored. Everything is like, so I feel like I love cooking from scratch and making something. Sometimes I don't even eat it. I just love the process of like dicing and seeing what this tastes like, different flavors, don't like this, like this. So when the season's done, I try to stay busy, but also I'm excited for my conventions, Hollywood Vibe, that I'm a part of.
Was cooking always just a passion of yours?
Cooking has always been a passion, because I think it started from dance, because dance is, in Australia, like I said, like the food is an art form. Like you get something from scratch and you build it. And I think that's what dance is too. Like you don't know choreography, you don't know what the song is, you don't know what this is. So you're building something from scratch. And like I said, sometimes I don't even eat it. I just love the process of cooking. And I'd like look at my dogs and I'm like, you guys are eating good tonight. And I would just like give it to them.
For the conventions coming up, what are those?
So I'm part of a convention called Hollywood Vibe. And I was lucky enough last season. There's like a few conventions that go around. I was lucky enough to win Best Convention Dance Teacher, which was I was just so honored that I got to be part of a convention, because ballroom, never used to be so popular. It's shows like Dancing with the Stars that has blown it up, and so many people want to learn ballroom. Like in conventions, it would be hip hop, contemporary, jazz, lyrical. Ballroom was never even in it.
Were those other styles popular because of music videos and just culture in general?
Exactly. And I think, because of Dancing with the Stars and the benchmark it's given us, kids want to learn ballroom and partnering, because nowadays, like even in music videos, like you get to do partnering, and there's a lot of Latin ballroom. People want to showcase that. So it's great to be part of that.
Right. Even now watching Dancing with the Stars, my wife and I want to figure out the form and posture, because there's so many, I never understood how many technicalities there were to an actual style of dance.
Oh yeah, definitely. And what the celebs go through, because it takes years and years to master, and what the celebs have to do every week is learn a whole new dance, new style. There's no time to kind of like sit in it and enjoy it. That's why I love the process. Dancing with the Stars is such a specific show, because you get to see someone transform in front of your eyes. And that's the beauty of it. You see someone grow and learn to move and learn to dance. But at the same time, they put everything into this dance, and you put everything into this dance. And then once that week is done, it's literally starting from scratch. you're starting from scratch. So I always want my celebrity to have fun in the process and not be stressed, and to push the limits, but at the same time to know that, you know, like when they do forget something or make a mistake, it's really important to stay positive and not be like, oh, okay, we got to do this, because at the end of the day, like it's not like they want to forget something. It's not like they want to not do the step the right way. And I think being in a rehearsal room, you want positive, always positive, no matter what. Even if it's not working, you can walk out of the rehearsal room and go, oh. But in the rehearsal room, it's so important to stay focused and stay positive, because I think that's what gets them to the next level, because
Right.
it's a process. And if the celebrity doesn't trust the process, it backfires and it goes backwards, and you want to keep moving forward.
Right. Can we focus on this past season with Jenn?
Yes.
Let's go right to the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Jenn was on this podcast. She talked about how she got the call right after her show from The Bachelorette. And it was, do you want to do Dancing with the Stars? You got to leave now.
Yeah.
She had 40 minutes to go. When does your phone call come in that you're going to be a pro, and when do you find out who it is?
This is I feel like this could be a movie.
It sounded, because you guys are in an airport running together.
It was something special. I'm not gonna lie. Like it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it, because I got a call first from the casting, Dina Katz, and I had an amazing season last season. I was in the finals with Allison, and it was
fifth place. You killed it.
Fifth place. It was amazing. And to talk about Allison, you know, like there's not a day that goes by that Allison and I don't talk. She does school drop-off in the morning, and she calls me and we discuss our day. It is the best. But jumping back to that, I got a call from Dina, the casting director, Dina Katz, who's amazing. You know, like literally I feel like this show is on track again because Conrad and Dina. And
she's been from day one.
She's been from day one.
Wild.
Yeah. Amazing. And it just proves she knows what she's doing. And I got a call, and it was like, Sash, I'm so sorry, I don't have anyone for you this season. And I was like, and it hurts because, you know, you give everything, like, this is my life. I love it. And she's like, but, you know, we love you, and we want you to do troup. And I think being part of such an incredible family, you would do anything for it because it's family. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I would still love to be part of the show, and I love the show. And I've actually, to be honest, when I first started the show, I think right about now, I've done as much troup as I've been pro.
Really?
I was troup for a while.
Before your first season with Snooki?
Yeah. And then after Snooki, because of height issues and everything else, I went back to troup. But anyway, going back to Dina's phone call, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do troup because I still want to be part of it. And she loved that, and I loved that, and I was super excited. And even though, you know, you're doing troup, you're still on the show. You're still on television. And that's what people have to understand. Like, and even being troup, you're still the dancer on the show. So it's not like you're being demoted or anything like that. You're still there. You get to be part of it. You get to be part of the opening numbers, which are phenomenal on the show.
Because it also boils down to if they can get a partner for you. It's not even about you.
Correct.
They need to find the right pairing of celebrity.
And I'm short. Let's be realistic. Like, I feel like this seat's like, I can fit 3 of me in here. So anyway, so jumping back, I was ready to do the troup, and by this time I know what's going on with like the show. Like, everyone's a Good Morning America.
People are already starting the season.
People are already starting the season.
I'm getting chills.
It was like the last straw, and you know, it was a hard night because I know everyone was at Good Morning America, and I'm like, oh, that right about now they're doing like the cast meet where we usually go upstairs in the hotel and all the celebrities meet everyone, and we're all there. And I'm just like, I remember sitting outside, and I called my ex-wife Emma, because we still talk, we're friends and we're supportive of each other. And I was just like, how's everything going? You guys must have just had the cast dinner. And she's like, yeah, how are you feeling? And I was like, oh, this is hard. Like, I wish I was there. I miss it. And she was just like, don't worry about it. You know, you're still on the show. You're still going to be on TV. And I was like, I know, but I know exactly what everyone's doing right now at Good Morning America. Anyway, I put the phone down. I got into bed and I looked at my phone and it just said Jenn Tran, Jenn Tran, Jenn Tran, Jenn Tran. Like literally on social media, just boom, boom, boom. And I was like, she looks really short. And I'm like, should I like just call Dina and be like, Jenn Tran's pretty short? But then I'm like, Dina's probably got a million things to think about right now. They're already at Good Morning America. I wouldn't even make the flight. Like I'm an idiot. And I put my phone down and I roll over. And it was like one of those things where I was like, oh, I wish I was there. And I see my phone ring, Dina Katz, and I'm like, oh, she's probably checking up on me, like, because, you know, like, when you're on the show, it's your family, and I'm like, they must have probably just had their dinner, and I pick up the phone, and I'm like, oh, you checking up on me? I'm all right. And she's like, Sasha, I need you to get up right now, and I'm going to put me on speaker, start packing, because you have a flight in 45 minutes. I found your partner. It's going to be Jenn Tran. And you need to get to the airport right now to get to Good Morning America. And I was like, I like jumped out of bed screaming. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this a prank? And then she's like, okay, you need to like, she was giving me details like where to go, this and that while I'm packing. I don't know. I'm literally just looking at clothes. I don't know what to pack. And she's like 45 minutes, Burbank Airport, like now. And I was just like running and doing this and that. And she like, you know, Dina hung up the phone and then called again. And we did a trio with me, Dina, and Allison. And now Allison's screaming like, oh my God, this is amazing. You're going to blah, blah, blah. And I was just in full panic mode. I'm like, what do I do with the dogs? I called my dog sitter. I was like, okay, it's late now.
Allison Hannigan? Just for like support?
Yeah, I mean, we're like, it's weird. It's not weird, but everyone that I dance with, I become family. Like, they literally are family.
So many people.
So many people, and that is what's beautiful about the show. You build a family. And anyway, so Allison's screaming, Dina's screaming, we're all screaming. They're like, you need to get the hell out of the house and get to the airport. And I remember flying to Burbank Airport, but I didn't have a ticket. They're like, you need to go and get a ticket, and we don't have a ticket, but we're working on it. Just get there. So I was like, okay, so I get to the airport. I see Jenn, don't even know Jenn, running. They're like, Jenn has a ticket, you don't. She's running to the gate, and I'm like, oh my God, this is less than 30 minutes till the plane. And I'm like, here's my name, blah, 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 can I check in? This is the ticket. And they're like, you don't have a ticket. I'm like, shit, I don't have a ticket. And I'm talking to ABC, a lady called Lauren, and she's like, okay, you need to just get to the gate. And I'm like, I don't have a ticket. And she's like, here's the confirmation. I give them the confirmation. They're like, we can't check you in. It's 30 minutes after the flight. And I was like, okay. So then I'm like, I don't know if they need a boarding pass to get through the security line. So I was like, panic. Just ran to the security line, gave the ID. They're massive fans of the show. They're like, we're so excited for you to be, we're so excited for this season. I'm like, they didn't know, they just thought I was on. So I was like, I need to get to the gate. They're like, yes, let's get you through the gate. Got me through the gate. I was talking to ABC Publicity, the publicity team, and they're talking me through, but I had to put my phone through the thing. So I was like, okay, tell me what gate. Hang on one sec. So I'd put my phone, ran, did the stand-up thing, got me out, grabbed the phone. They're like, look for the gate. I'm like, what gate? They're like, all the screens are off. I'm sweating. It was the last gate. So I get there, and I'm like, I need to check in.
So you didn't talk to Jenn at this point? You just
didn't even know who she was. She flew past me. And then I remember, like, the... This
is a Hallmark movie.
I'm telling you. And I was literally at the gate talking to the gentleman. He's like, we don't have a ticket. And Lauren's like, just wait. Okay, give him the confirmation. I see nothing, sir. I'm so sorry. And he's like, how'd you even get in here? I was like, check again, please. Like, sweating.
How'd you even
And
get
then
in
Lauren's
here?
like, okay, check now. We should be good. And he's like, we have a seat for you. I was like, yes. And then I feel a tap on my shoulder. And I turn around. She's like, Sasha? And I was like, Jenn. And it was just like, it was crazy. It was so crazy. And then we got to Good Morning America. We were meant to go into the room and shower and get ready. Everything was just so delayed. The traffic, this and that. There was no time for that. We literally got off the plane, changed, and just walked straight on to Good Morning America.
Insane. Last one's on the plane, fly out. Are you guys talking to each other on the plane about?
No, because they couldn't get seats. But I'll tell you the coolest thing, right?
Oh, so you guys aren't even near each other?
No, not even near each other. Here's the coolest thing. Like my mum is very like spiritual, and we have this like healer and this and that, and she was talking to me, and my dad was like, the worst part when you're not is telling your parents. Like that was like a hit for me, because I'm like, I don't have a celebrity this season. I'm going to be on troup. And they're proud of me no matter what. And I love them. But it's just a hard thing to say. And my mum has this person that is a healer, and some people believe it, some people don't. And she was telling my dad this whole time, no, this lady's saying that he's going to be okay. Like, he's going to have a partner. And my dad was like, cool. Didn't tell me. And time was going by, like, because Dina called me. Everyone started rehearsing. So that was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And, 2 weeks. And my dad would come and ask my mum, like, have you spoken to a lady? And she's like, yeah, no, I see something, and he's going to have a partner. And my dad's like, okay. Anyway, comes Good Morning America night. And my dad comes to my mum. He's like, everyone's already flown to Good Morning America. He's not gonna have a partner. Like, tell the lady, like, thank you, but it didn't work this time. And I remember being on the plane and haven't spoken to anyone because it was just mayhem. The only person I called was my dad before we're taking off, because I was like sweating, and I'm like, Dad. He's like, yeah. I was like, I'm flying to Good Morning America, have a partner. It all just happened. And he's like, what? Like, screamed, and like you could tell like he was crying. And then he calls my mum, and he's like, what did she say? And she's like, he's gonna have a partner. And then my dad's like, Sash just called and said he's got a partner. He's gonna be on the season. He's flying to New York right now. And my dad's like, we need to call her and thank her like 1,000,000 times. It was so funny. It was so cute. But it was just such an insane thing to go through, like from 0 to 100.
Right.
And it was just amazing. And to get there, and like I said, like when I first met Jenn, I tried to go speak to her on the plane because we were sitting so far away. And she was just so nice and so bubbly and just like, let's do this. And I was like, hell yeah. Can you dance? She's like, no. I was like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter. And that's what the show's about, like the process. And it was just so exciting. I actually, funny enough, it was such a special moment because I still carry this in my wallet, like, and no one knows about it. This is literally the boarding pass
from that flight?
Burbank flight.
Wow.
7A. It was gate 7A, seat 22E, and it was doors closed at 8:45.
That needs to be framed
and
Dina
saved. Dina called me, I want to say at 7:45. It was like, it was a movie. It was literally like a movie, and I have it in my wallet.
She called you the same time for boarding?
I think she called me at around 7:45 to say, get your ass up. This is the best call. Like, she was also crying, and Allison was screaming. We're all screaming. I'm getting nothing done because we're all three of us are just screaming on speaker. She's like, Sasha, you need to go and get packed. And I'm like, what do I take? It was so cool.
And Jenn mentioned that she had like emotional whiplash because she was going through all those emotions with the Bachelorette.
Right.
Finds out she's going to do Dancing with the Stars, something she's always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And now she finds out she's partnered with you. You guys are on the plane. What's that feeling when you guys finally land? Do you find each other? You head straight to Good Morning America together?
That's the thing. It was so quick that we were trying to get a room to shower and this and that. And because of the traffic, of course, New York, we got off the plane and our driver was like, oh, I parked pretty far. And we're like,
obviously,
let's run. So all three of us, the driver, me, and Jenn, were running to the car. And we had the first time we really spoke was in the car to Good Morning America. And everyone's calling me saying, how far, ETA. Okay, we got to cut the room. There's no time to go to the room. You just got to get there, change, and go. And it was full on. It was so, like, when I think about it, I always get chills because you can't write this. And to get to Good Morning America and then start rehearsals with Jenn and to find out what an awesome person she is and how sweet she is and how hardworking she is was just amazing. And the cool thing about this show, like I said, is you're in a studio, not 24/7, but you get 4 hours. And in those 4 hours, you have interviews and this and whatnot. But to see someone come in and be like, I have never danced before, and to see them perform at the end of that week is just so rewarding. And that's why you build such a connection with your partners, because there's so much trust involved.
There's so much emotional support from her onto you and you onto her, because she's doing the most vulnerable thing right now in front of all of America.
Yeah.
And she's taking your hand to guide her on what to do correctly. So it's just it's really captivating to see that happen and unfold on TV every single week. And now with this past season in social media, we get to see a whole new side of what's happening behind the scenes. We get to see you guys really come close, and you're hanging out and you're going out to dinner. It really builds that relationship and helps us on the outside feel like we're part of it.
Right. I love that. I mean, I think Dina Katz and Conrad Green.
What is he, the EP?
He is the main guy.
And he came back after.
Yes, he came back, and both of them just put the show back to where it was. It feels like what it used to be, and the ratings and everything was like, demographic was through the roof. I think we all got an email. It hasn't been, the ratings were as good as it was in 2017.
Wow, 7 years ago.
And that is something special because, with streaming and everything, it's just, they've put the show back, which is phenomenal. And to be a part of it right now, I think is such a highlight. And you really feel like you're a part of a family. Like I said, like Dina calling me at that time, I think it was like 7:45, was such like it felt like I was talking to my mum. She's like, okay, we're back in the game. Let's do it. And it was like, again, like being in the troupe, you're still part of the show. But again, like it is a little like, on the inside it hurts. On the outside, you put on a face and you're going to do your job no matter what. But to get that call was like the best feeling. And then to find out that I'm dancing with someone so special like Jenn was just like the icing on the cake.
When you find out you're going to be a pro, is there something that you, Sasha, as a dancer, are really excited to? Is it figuring out the choreography? Is it putting on that dance once you guys are all done? Is it seeing Jenn get a grasp on how to dance different styles?
Yeah. It's so exciting, the show, because every season's new. And you always want your dancers for your celebrity to showcase. You can give them like, oh, I'm going to give you like the best choreography, but sometimes, that's not their strength. So you have to act at their strength and make sure that they look the best they possibly can. And that's what's so special about the show, because it's different. every partner you have has different strengths, different weaknesses. So that's what makes it so special. It's a whole new ballgame every season. And that's what feels fresh. It's not like a show that you've done for so many seasons and it's like you come in, you're like, oh, this is the same. This feels fresh. Every day you come in. Every week is a new week. It's a new dance. It's a new style. And it's something really cool that you get to see your partners either break and then you lift them up, or connect and go straight away. But this, no matter what, at the end of the week, it will be special. It will be beautiful, and it will be great.
Your knee walk is forever ingrained in my brain. That was such a monumental part of the show. But do you have a favorite dance that you and Jenn did?
To be honest, like, every week was a favorite because you move on. You got to go forward. And every week, we had less time for week one for the cha-cha. We only had like a week to get up and running. And usually, like, when the season starts, you don't do your dance. You start with movement. So you start with movement, steps, remembering formations, like little things. So to go straight into choreography for someone who's never danced was hard. So I had to make sure that whatever she has, she still shines.
She had zero dance skills prior?
Zero.
Insane, because she did so good.
She did so good and looked amazing. And like when I watch some of them back, I'm like, wow, she looks like she's danced before. And that's a testament to her because of her hard work.
Right. Was there a moment in the show where you guys really started connecting on the personal level?
I think there's no time for egos or anything like that in the show because you get put in and you just go. So I think from the get-go, it was like, okay, we're connected, we're going, we're doing this, let's go.
Because she's not from here, so
no.
I mean, her life really became the show, which was cool. So she really got to be involved in your world of dance, and she was fully committed. How badly did she want to win?
Oh man, she wanted to win so much. She just loved the process of everything. And that's what's so cool about the show. Like, everyone falls in love with the process of trusting. Because when you first do something, they don't get it. It's not like a pro rehearsal where you go, guys, okay, we're going to put together this. He's 4/8 here. Da, 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 da. It's done. This is a process of like, okay, trust, failure, build, break. Nothing comes easy. So I think Jenn fell in love with the dance process. She's always wanted to be a dancer and never got the chance to try. And at first, I remember, we played around with some steps, and I was like, okay, that's not gonna work. And she
just wasn't getting it.
Well, it was just so early. Like, we haven't. Usually, you have time to play with coordination and steps and rotations, and this was like straight into choreography.
I'm sorry. Back on that plane. Did they tell you what song you had for week one so you can start preparing?
Well, we were on the plane and they're like, guys, we're so behind. Like, we need music for you. Like, what do you want to do? Like, let's go. And she was like, what about Flowers, Miley Cyrus? I was like, not a cha-cha, but let's make it a cha-cha. And cha-cha it is, week one. Here we go. So then they submitted the edit in and we got an edit while we were on the plane.
Edit of the version of the song? Uh-huh.
Correct. And they have to clear songs. Sometimes that takes a while. So that cleared really quickly. And we went straight into it, and I remember her texting me. Again, because she was so on the move, she was like, okay, we landed. I had like 3 hours with her, and then she's like, I got a flight in Miami because I have to pick up clothes. I don't have any clothes with me.
Oh, she went back home?
She had to go back home, and then she had an appearance where she was throwing the first pitch in Boston. So I lost like 3 days there, and I was like, oh, we have like... Cool, we have 4 days before show.
So she goes from New York to Miami to Boston to LA with a few days to prepare for Dancing with the Stars.
Let's go. It's like game time. And I remember she texted me, she's like, we had like, because it was also the first day, we had to get in all our interviews. So by the time the interviews were done, we only had like 2 hours. And then she's like, bye, I'll see ya. I was like, okay. Have a safe flight. But again, you don't want to stress the celebrities out, you know, like, it's going to be great. We got this. And she texted me. She's like, I just watched the video. I was like, yeah? She's like, I am so shit. I can't dance. I was like, babe, no, come on. This is day one, literally, of the whole process. Like, you're going to be phenomenal. And I did some little changes. And, I mean, the cha-cha, she did so good. With, like, 4 days.
So insane.
Yeah.
You did so good considering the amount of time that you guys had in the beginning.
Yeah. For week one, she came out strong. And just, I was so proud. So proud.
What was your approach to choreography with Jenn for this season? How did you hear a song and figure out the parts for what to do?
Jenn, in choreography, I wanted to push the buttons because she had capability. And I always wanted to be different in the sense of every week I wanted to feel different. I didn't want to, ballroom has a specific foundation and fundamentals of steps. So it's really important to keep it fresh, but you still have to do those specific steps because that's what associates a cha-cha with a cha-cha and a rumba with a rumba. But it's about finding the pattern for your celebrity and making it look different. And also, we're not competing for the world championships. It's a TV show and it's a show, so you want it to be entertaining.
And you have to find that balance of where Jenn's comfortability is. And
absolutely. And every celebrity has their own insecurities and their own abilities. And you have to find the right balance. And not only do you teach your celebrity, you also become like someone that they can rely on, because it's like they'd be calling you after the show. Okay, I'm icing my toes. This hurts, that hurts. What do I do with this? This hurts. Okay, maybe we can't practice this all the time because this hurts. So there's a lot of things that, you have to look after them, because at the end of the day, this is such a strong show where the celebrities don't go on and spin the wheel and guess it, a letter or something. This is hard work, but also rewarding. Like I remember Mary Lou Retton, and I still speak to her, and she is being in hospital from all the gymnastics and everything, and she was just such a hard worker. But I would have to be like, listen, Mary Lou, we need to slow down. You're going to hurt yourself. And there was a time where we had to go to UCLA. She had a cortisone in her knee. But it's those things where it's a marathon and not, a sprint. And you want them to kind of enjoy the process. Otherwise, it could be hell. And I've been so lucky to stay literally friends with absolutely every celebrity. I mean, Tara Jolie came to my house the other day, and she had 300 little ducks, tiny little ducks that she planted all over my house without me knowing. And I would open the pantry, there's a duck. I would open my underwear drawer, there's a duck. I'm like, she planted so many of them. But those are the little things I love. I spoke to Simone Biles the other day. We speak a lot. I went to go see her tour, and then we caught up. And when you see your partners, you go through so much together that it's like no time has gone by. And I love that. It's like, Sims, oh my God, blah, blah. And it's like we're talking like we did, and we reminisce the old times. And it was just, yeah, that's why I love the show so much, because every season is so different.
When you reconnect with these people, do they ever express coming back possibly for an all-star season?
Every single one. I want to come back. Let's do it. I want to do this. Because once you do the show, and you do, for the first time you're learning a cha-cha, say, and it's hard. But once you do the cha-cha, you're learning a new dance, and you're like, the cha-cha was, I already have that. So when you come back if they come back, they already know the fundamentals. It's like, okay, let's up the game and let's play with something different. But the fundamentals of the dance is what's important, and that's the hard part.
Have you ever done an athlete season or an all-star season?
We did an athlete season where I danced. I was in the finals with Tanya Harding. And again, no matter what people, their past or this or that, I feel like I'm always in the present. So I don't follow much, but I knew I had a partner in front of me, and I'm going to dance with her no matter what. And she was so sweet. she messages me, I want to dance. I'm in the best shape of my life. Like, let's go. And I had so much fun with Tanya. Like, I remember just, she's being so down to earth. She's like, I'd finish rehearsals and she goes, you got to come hear my husband sing karaoke. And I was like, okay, let's go. I mean, I was staying there. I didn't have anything else to do. I was like, let's do it. And I was like, is it close? And she goes, yeah. Driving an hour into the forest. I call her, I'm like, Tons, are we close? She's like, yeah, it's right here. And it was this dive bar, and it was just so cool. Her friends were there, and she was singing, and her husband was singing, so down to earth. And it was so nice because we had, we got to the final, and it was just so much fun. And she worked so hard. And I wanted people to give her a second chance because I feel like everyone deserves a second chance in life. And she's had it pretty rough, where like I was like, oh, you should bring your son to the show. And she was really scared about people seeing who her son was for like death threats and this and that. But again, like she was just, I remember sitting there and I just finished the first dance because we have 2 dances. And I knew she loved the song that I chose. It was, at first I was afraid, I was petrified. And I was like, I finished the dance and she's like, I'm so excited for this. Can you just play the song? And I'm like, Tons, I got to prep this freestyle. Like, yes, but let me play it for you and you can have a listen. But you're done for the day. Go have a rest. Like, let me work now and tomorrow morning we're going to start the freestyle. And I press play and I'm sitting there and the music starts and she just like takes off. Like bam, bam, spin, 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 jump, down. I was like, I had my head down and I look up and I'm like, what was that? And she's like, I love this song. And I was like, I stopped the music and I was like, can you do that again? She's like, probably not. And I was like, just try. She did it again. It wasn't in that sequence, but she did it. And I was like, again. And she did it again, and it was closer and closer. And she was just sweating and having the time of her life. Like, this is her reborn. And I was like, that's the beginning of our freestyle.
Yeah.
And she's like, yes, I love it. And it was just, it's those moments that, and I feel like I've had that with every partner that I've danced with, building those special moments. And I remember just leaving the rehearsal room thinking, wow, this person is so special and I want to help. I want to help in every possible way. I want her, I just wanted to help. And she has had it pretty rough. But again, I just wanted to push people deserve a second chance. This is a dance show. Let's judge the dancing. And, she worked so hard and it was just such a reward to get her into the finals. And, the negatives, the comments were negative at first. And then it was so beautiful by the finals to see people love her. And the comments were positive and this and that. And it's like, okay, this is why I love the show.
Right. It's the redemption.
It's the redemption. Absolutely.
When you get to that point in the freestyle,
mm-hmm.
for the finale, how do you approach it to try and encapsulate what makes that celebrity special?
The freestyle that I had with Allison, she was phenomenal, but I wanted to work at her strengths. And I love Allison, and and she knows, and she laughs at this all the time. Before we would dance, the people would be like, okay, you can go rehearse at the back and then touch-ups and then you're on. And we would get to the rehearsal and, I'm like, okay, let's go. And she would be facing the other way or she would be stepping on the wrong foot. Like, it would just go out the window. And I remember just thinking, she's got this, yeah, it's orientation and this and that, just trying to stay positive. And she's like, I'm like, it's okay. It's just the orientation. Once you get onto the floor, It'll all come back. You know, you have to stay this calm. On the inside, burning, thinking, oh shit, how are we going to maneuver this? And, you know, there were times, but Alison is just such a positive person. And no matter what, you know, she was just so happy and so hardworking. And those are the things you have to maneuver around. And I remember in the freestyle, there were, you know, there was plan A, plan B, and plan C. What we want to think of and what we want to do. And again, like plan A, she would get if we had 3 weeks. Plan B, you know, she would get if we had 2 weeks. But we have like 5 days. So I want her to enjoy the last dance, to float down this thing, people to lift her, to move. And, you know, she crushed it. It was just so much fun. And there's no better feeling than doing the last dance and go, oh, wow, like it's done. Now the last thing we got to do is wait for the results. And it's so rewarding. And like I said, Alison and I speak every day. We spoke today in the morning. She's always caring. She's always like, put your seatbelt on. And I love her to bits, and I love all my partners because like I remember dancing with Ali Brooke. You know, we still speak. She checks in on me, and like it's just really, like I said, and I can say it enough. Like it's what the show is. It's such a different show. And ballroom dancing is such a unique style. Like, growing up in school and dancing, doing ballroom dancing, competing, it was not easy. In Australia, definitely not easy. Because
was there much of a scene there?
There was a scene, for sure. But, yeah, actually, no. It was quite a big scene in Australia. But it wasn't popular. It wasn't cool to ballroom dance. And I just loved it. And I thought it was a cool way to pick girls up because it's like, this ratio is amazing. One guy, 12 girls, you're rotating because you need to do like, you're dancing with all the girls because, you know, you need to partner up. This is a win. But at school, you know, like once you go do a competition, you've got the fake tan, the slick back hair. It wasn't cool. Like at the time, I remember getting the shit beaten up out of me. And there was a time where I got strapped on a pole. And like flour and eggs, just like, and it was, again, dancing wasn't popular.
They threw this at you?
I was tied at school. Yeah, it just, and fruit thrown at you, like, yeah, it wasn't.
Because you were a dancer there?
Yeah, because I would come into school with like fake tan, eyeliner. It wasn't the coolest of things to do. But again, I was also a smart ass because you put this defense mechanism up and it's like you get thrown around, you get this, you get that, you come back. But at the end of the day, like that's what school was. And it made you stronger. But now I feel like I look back and I'm like, yeah, I'm happy I did that. I'm happy I'm a dancer because I'm happy at where I am in life and the choices that are made. And I think all those things that happened to me made me stronger and made me want it even more. I'm like, yeah, that was fruit thrown. It wasn't fun at the time, but at the time, you're young, you just got to laugh it off and be like, okay, because I would go school, straight to training, home, because I had the World Championships to work on, I had the Australian Championships to work on. That was all that was in my head. Like, come home and watch dance videos. You would, like, I remember closing the door and watch the competitions and just, like, pretend like I'm at the World Championships by myself, like, just living the dream.
Did you have a partner that you practiced with?
Yeah, I had a partner. I had several, 3 or 4 main ones. And at first it was fun. Dancing was fun. Ballroom dancing was fun. And then, like, you win a competition, you do this, you do that, then you're in the open and you win that and you're like, okay, this is great. And then I was top 2 in Australia, and then you get selected for the Worlds, you do the Worlds, then you do Blackpool. Like, it was a lot of fun, and you get to meet people, and I was traveling. So that's why I was like, you know what, I love this no matter what. Gotta go to school, but I love it.
This is the kind of stuff I love. How do you find dance, and at what point do you realize you're kind of good at this?
I remember doing a competition, and I was like, yes, if I do this competition, on the way home, we're going to drive past KFC, and I'm going to get KFC.
Every Australian boy's dream.
Yeah, and I was like, yes. And then there was no stress because I was like having so much fun. I was like, I don't know where I am. Why am I wearing this bow tie and white shirt and I'm just about to go dance? Oh, this is cool. Blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, first place. Sasha Farber, blah, blah, blah.
How old are you at this point? Like 13, 14, 15?
I was 13, 14.
And that's when you started dancing, no?
Yeah.
Oh, right away you were pretty good.
Well, you start low. So I won the lowest division.
Okay.
It was from my bar mitzvah. I remember seeing a show, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, he's dancing with a girl. I want to do this.
What was your theme?
My bar mitzvah theme?
Yeah.
I don't have a theme. It was just, we go to town, and it was just music, dancing, food. It wasn't a theme, but it was just family.
Okay.
And there was like 100 people there, and it was just so much fun. And I did like a show there, which was, when I watch it back, I'm like, it wasn't any dancing. It was just like, I thought I was Paul McCure from Strictly Ballroom, just doing random things that didn't make any sense. So then my mum's like, okay, we're going to try dancing. And that's when I started after my bar mitzvah. And then it was just so much fun getting to meet people. And again, ballroom dancing was not popular. It was expensive. The lessons, everything that, my parents did for me, and my sister, she would drive, like, the studio was an hour away. So I would go after school, my sister would drive me, train for like 3-4 hours, then drive back an hour, then do my homework. I was like, just watch more dance videos. And then repeat. And I wanted to dance every day, but my parents could only afford lessons for like twice a week. And the rest I would go in and just train without lessons.
Were you obsessed with it right away?
Right away. It was like a dream. It's like ballroom. It's like a drug. And it's its own little world. You have people that you look up to, and you watch them and what they wear, how they move. Dancing is also very. It has its like styles, and you pick the style that you feel that you are when you watch your idol dance. And you're like, oh, I want to be like him, and I want to do this step. And then your teacher would be like, just because you feel like you're doing the step, you don't look like you're doing the step. You need to find the technique first. And like just breaking everything down in the studio, and then doing, the practice class where all the other couples are on the floor, and it's 5 dancers: cha-cha, samba, rumba, paso doble, jive. And they play the music, and you walk out like it's the competition, and like you sweat and you dance, the lights are off, and you watch the other couples, you cheer them on. It was really like something special.
Who were those inspirations for you?
God, there was an Australian dancer called Jason Gilkinson and Peter Roby. There was a dancer called Brian Watson and Carmen, a dancer called Alan Tornsberg. There was just so many that I would like watch and study and want to be just like them.
And these were Australian?
These are all world. No.
Oh, world.
Yeah, Australia is far from everyone, and the main competitions are in England and the UK. England and the US. So for us to come and do those competitions is a trek, and it's really expensive.
Because you have to fly yourself out, you have to pay for your wardrobe, and it's you and your partner that have to do this too.
And I remember we were first in Australia, and we got the World Championships. For the World Championships, it's a closed event.
So you're invited because you won?
Only the top 2 from each country can go. So I was like, yes, Mum, Dad, we got I'm doing the Worlds. And they're like, where is it? And I'm like, Latvia, Riga.
Where's that?
In Europe. And that's an expensive flight. And Australia's like, we're going to give you $300 towards that flight. So that's like one of those things where, again, like, my parents sacrificed so much for me to go. Didn't know how I was going to do. Because you're never up against, You don't see the talent. You see it on TV, and you know everyone there. And I remember it was just so surreal, and we got 7th. And it was just such an achievement. And then coming back to Australia, like making this, coming 7th, it was just like, I was like, yeah, I did this. It was just so cool.
What does coming in 7th at the Worlds do to your name back home? Does
Yeah.
this give you like a new kind of
So
career?
yeah, there's different divisions. So first there's juvenile, and I was too old when I started to do juvenile, and then there's junior, and I think junior is from 13 to 16, and I went to Blackpool and I was 3rd in the junior Blackpool, which I think that put me on the map, of being in Australia. And then, because I came 3rd, that's like a big thing.
3rd in Blackpool?
Yeah.
Wow.
Junior. Yeah. In
Out
my
of how many couples were...
Oh, God. Maybe 200?
That's crazy.
It was my first international competition. It was so scary. And I remember coming, and I have this little plaque trophy.
Are one of your parents with you?
No, couldn't afford it. So we went with my coach and my partner. Wow. And I remember, I'm very particular with my hair. And I remember, because Blackpool is very elegant, and like it's very, it's a different world. And I remember my coach was like, I'm going to do your hair. I was like, okay. And she like slicked it to the side. And I was like, what is this? I don't even look like myself. But it's very like prestige, and it worked. And then from there, you turn youth. And that's when I won the Australian Championships in youth, and then got the world representation to go to Australia, to do the Worlds, and we got 7th, and I'll never forget it. It was just, when they call your name out and they say representing Australia, it was like, wow. And then after that, I got picked up to do a show called Burn the Floor. And that was so much fun. I did that and got to go on Broadway. That was the first ballroom show to do Broadway.
In New York?
Yeah. We
wow.
We were at the Longacre Theatre, and we got there for 3 months. Extended for 9.
Someone discovers you from the competitions?
So, yeah. Yeah, his name's Jason Gilkinson. He was the choreographer and is the choreographer of Burn the Floor.
Was that one of your idols?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And got to do that show, and it opened up a whole new world for me because it's theatre. And
was that ever on your radar or a goal?
No, it was just Worlds. Blackpool, Worlds. Never like, when I remember getting to Broadway, training so hard to get the show up and running, to get to the theatre at the Longacre in New York, Broadway. And it didn't click. I was like, why are people so like obsessed with Broadway? Like, what is this? Like, I'm more like Worlds. Let's go. Let's train. Let's become. And then just loved it. And then because we did Broadway, we did a Broadway tour, which is like 11 months around the whole of States. Like, you travel with all the Broadway shows.
What made you want to leave the competition world to go to Broadway? Was it?
It was something new. And I still competed whilst doing Burn the Floor, which was really cool because the girl I was dancing with actually, she was the US champion, Giselle Peacock. She was phenomenal, still is.
Great name for dance.
Right? But I was lucky enough, she wanted to dance with me, and I was like, yes, let's do it. She was tiny, fast, quick. It was just so strong. And then she did Burn the Floor, so we would do our shows and train in between. And then Jason was there, and he would teach us, and it was just, you're constantly going. And I remember like we were in Hong Kong, look up, is there a competition in Hong Kong? Boom, apply. Is there, every city we're in, China, how many competitions can we hit? But again, that process was so hard because we would be doing a 2-hour show and then train after. But that's when it was the best, because we would finish the show and it's like, all right, 5 straight, let's go. We would wait for the audience to clear, and the dancers would sit in the audience and just cheer you on, and the couple's still competing. There were a few of us. We would just run our dances. Like, like your body is at its peak when it's warm and soft and
The shows are a warm up for you.
Exactly. But I feel like, when you're sweating and your body's warm, that's at its peak. So like if you're doing 5 straight and you have a break and you do the next 5 straight, that's 5 dances in a row. The last one will be your best because you're just relaxed. Your body's falling into the right pockets of your body. So that was always fun. And then we were at the Pantages Theatre.
Here in LA?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
We were playing Pantages, and the Dancing with the Stars people came to watch. And I got an email saying, hey, we'd love to have an interview with you. And then the rest is history.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So just back to the Broadway. Was your Broadway paycheck funding the competition entries and travels and whatnot?
Well, the thing is, we were traveling.
So that already covered it.
That was the key. And that was the only way I could do all the competitions I wanted to do because I would get... Jason wouldn't charge us for lessons because, we're there. And I also had Australian coaches before then that got me up and running, Tony and Adele. And they were there for my worlds, my Blackpool and this and that. And once I transformed into the theatre world, that's when Jason and Peter, because I couldn't have Tony and Adele be there, took over. And that was our key of, okay, we have press in Hong Kong. Who wants to go do press? And I remember me and Giselle were like, there's a competition in Hong Kong. They're like, okay, fine. Your competition is on Wednesday, but on Tuesday, we have to promote the show. And we're going to go round all the nightclubs and you're going to do your cha-cha or your samba or whatever. And it was in Lang Kwang Fong, where there's just club after club after club. And we would be like practicing our dances. That's how we would practice because the audience was there and would be like, all right, cha-cha, let's go. And like, next club up. Nick, who was with us, would be like, okay, next club. You go to the next club. All right, let's do rumba this time. So you'd practice in these clubs. And then the next day you wake up, tan up, slick hair, costume, registrate, dance. It was so cool.
We'll go to Dancing with the Stars in a second, but would you ever consider going back to Broadway?
I can't sing, but it was... Burn the Floor was... there's always talks. Harley Metcalf, who runs the show, always talks about, that was such a special time. It was 2009 we were there, and we were the first ballroom show, and they didn't know how it was going to go. And to get extended 9 months was insane. So there's always talks about maybe going back. But after us, we closed and Kinky Boots came in.
Right.
Took that theatre. So it was just pretty special. Every time we go to Good Morning America, who was on the tour, who was on that Broadway cast, we always go and we sit by the theatre and we're like, this is where it was. Every GMA.
Would you compete against other pros that are on Dancing with the Stars now?
No, because we're in Australia.
Oh, okay. Even at the Blackpools and the UK competitions, you didn't see other people?
When I did Blackpool, a lot of the Strictly people I competed with, the other show.
The UK version?
Yeah. I have a lineup of, it's so funny, like first, second, third, a picture, and the first place was a guy called Kevin Clifton, who did Strictly and did Burn the Floor with us. But I just didn't put two together, and like, I look at the picture and I'm like, dude, you won my Blackpool. It's just crazy. It is a small world, and it's an amazing world. And again, like, when I was doing it, I didn't know where it was going to end up. I put all my chips in one basket.
How far ahead in life are you looking? Is it the 3 months, 6 months ahead?
When you're competing?
Yeah.
Day by day. Day by day. You'd be eating, like, canned food, staying in, like, tiny hotels in London, just to get by, just to pay for the lessons. The outfits are so expensive, especially for the girls. So it was a tough time, but such a rewarding and fun time.
When it's you and your partner, are you guys splitting expenses down the middle?
Absolutely,
because it's a team.
Yeah, and that's why Burn the Floor being on the show was great, because even though it was so tiring, it was helping because we're traveling. We're not paying for anything. So no, we didn't have to pay for food because we get catering. It was one of those things where you just look in the city, okay, and then you'd be like, oh, we just missed the competition because you go into the next city, and you're like, can we stay? And they're like, no, we got a show. And you're like, damn it. So it was those times when you're like, if I was competing, I would be doing that. But again, it's so expensive.
So now back to Pantages Theatre. Dancing with the Stars sees you, because you did Dancing with the Stars, the Australian version first, correct?
Yeah.
Is that where you started from that email?
No, I didn't think much. I was in my competing world. I was like, oh, this is just a second. I'm going to do this and then go back to the competing world. I had my eye on, like, I want to make the final at the Worlds. This is it. This is my thing. So I didn't think twice about it. And then I did the touring show for a while.
Dancing with the Stars tour?
No, Burn the Floor.
Oh, okay.
And when we got to Pantages, I was like, okay, let's try something new. And then I did the troupe for like 5 seasons.
Here in America?
Yeah.
Are you living in America at that time?
Yes. It was me, Tristan, and Kiki in one room. It was a studio apartment. Tristan was in the bed, I was in a futon bed, and Kiki was another dancer, was on a blow-up bed. And it was all 3 of us just crammed in there because, you know, it's expensive. So we still had a lot of fun, you know, like we would go out, cook some food, like get meat, I would marinate it, and then we would walk downstairs, put it on the barbecue, like a communal barbecue, eat.
So this is Sasha the chef really coming together.
Yeah, I think I was a chef before then. No, actually, no. I didn't know what the hell I was doing then. I was probably burning meat left and right. And just being in that apartment was interesting, you know. We lived on 2-minute noodles. But it was just so much fun. Like, all 3 of us would have so much fun. And then I did troupe until I danced. I got a Snooki. And then after Snooki, I went back to troupe.
Snooki's your debut season on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. And again, like, I just spoke to her not long ago. Like, still friends, and she still checks in on me. She's like, I'm so happy for you, and this and that. And
Snooki was in New Jersey. Did you train with her here?
No, she was in New Jersey, so we would have to fly because she had Lorenzo. Her son. Wait, Lorenzo, is that her son or her husband's Lorenzo? I would always mix that up, and she's like, that's my husband.
So you would go out there. How'd you like doing that?
It's hard. But I remember she's like, I'm going to stay in LA for a week. And I was like, great. And then her dad's like, please look after her. I was like, of course. And I remember getting to the studio, and she was never really late. And I'm like calling her, and I'm like, babe, where are you? And she's like, zzz. I'm like, what is that? She's like, I'll be there in like 20. I'm just getting a tattoo. I'm like, oh, her dad's going to kill me. But yeah, there's so many stories, and you build so many memories and so many amazing friends. And like I said, like last season, I could literally write a book, a movie. It would be, and there's so much more to this movie. But we'll get to that another day. Yeah, it's just, you build so many friends. And then, you know, I went on the Dance with Stars tour for so many tours, which was so much fun. Met so many friends, like Lindsay Arnold, you know, she's like family. We talk all the time.
It's so crazy to me that your guys' thing is looking for different water parks at every stop.
We would do that when there was a a summer tour. And I would be like, let's find an aquatic center. Let's find something with water, like just to chill out, because the weather was great. We always loved to sunbake. And I remember there was one pool, and I love water slides. She's gonna kill me. And I'm like, Haley was there. And I'm like, guys, let's go water slide. Because it's like I have ADD sometimes, and I'm like, I need to run. And I'm like, guys, let's go. on the water slide. And they're like, Sash, just, no, that looks painful. We're not going to go. I was like, oh, shit. Guys, let's go. I would just keep bugging her and Haley. And she's like, no. I'm like, I have an idea. I will go myself. And if it's like, easy, smooth, we'll go. Please, please. They're like, just go. I was like, bye. So, and it's one of those where you stand and the floor comes under you and you go, and I did it. And I was like, this is so smooth. This is like, they're going to love it. They're going to be crazy not to do this before a show.
Do you remember where this is?
No. I can see it, but I don't remember what city it was in.
Middle of the country?
Yeah, for sure. And then I run back. Guys, it was so cool. You stand there, floor comes up, not scary at all. Like, look, no marks on me. This is amazing. Come on, please, I want to do it again. And they're like, fine. And I remember Lindsay and Haley were walking up, and this kid goes to Lindsay right before we go on. He looks at her and he's like, hope you don't die. And I'm like, what? And I was like, we get to the top, and I was like, guys, let me go first so I can see you guys come down. And like, I'll wave and it'll be fine. Like, I'll do a video. And they're like, okay, fine. So I go down first. Holy shit. It was like a complete different slide. I came up with scratches. Like, it was bad. It was bad. And I'm like, oh, what the hell was that? I don't know what happened. Maybe they increased the water pressure or something. And I get out, like, my shorts are in my neck. My ass is out. I was like, they're going to... And I look up and Lindsay's in there already. And they're like... And I was like, oh, they're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. She comes down. I'm like... I'm scared to come near her. Her hair's everywhere. Her bikini's in her ass. She's like, her hair's everywhere. Water coming out, like spitting. She's like, I'm gonna kill you. I was like, I literally don't know what happened. Then we look up and Haley's about to go. I kid you not, we all had scratches in the same spot, like around the ankles. Like when she put her shoes on, it would hurt. I was like, oh, they're gonna kill me.
That kid's warning.
But it was like, I went down the first time, smooth sailing. That whole day was interesting. Like, I remember we were sunbaking, and before I even went on the slide, Lindsay's lying there. She's like, closed eyes, and this kid was running and looking the other way, and just like tripped completely over her. It was just, and then I think it was the same place where the sirens came on after we did the slide. And there was like there was a turd in the pool.
Obviously.
But we've never seen that. And like they're like, no one get in the water. And we were like, okay, we gotta go. But it was just so funny. I just remember like getting up from that slide thinking, what the hell was that? Like, that was completely different. They're gonna kill me.
Water parks and water slides are a different breed of excitement.
Lindsay, yeah, we've definitely had some fun, and that's what I love about like, we grew up together. I feel like we grew up together, and I've seen Lindsay at her finest. I've seen things that no one has seen, and we laugh about it. And what the beauty of it is, we still talk a lot. And, for her to have 2 kids is so beautiful. And the fact, like, now, sometimes I call Lindsay, and Sage is like, and she would grab the phone, and Lindsay's like cooking or doing something, and Sage is like talking to me, proper conversation for like 10 minutes, showing me her room and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, like it's amazing, like, that she's such an incredible mum. Seeing Lynn's and being Lynn's and like how she is, and now like I would say, like, on my phone it would say I have her under Linda, because there was a fan once and it was like, Linda, you were great, and I was like, yes, from now on you are Linda. And it says Linda, and I like answer the FaceTime, and it's like, Sage, hi Sasha, and like, just the fact that her daughter can FaceTime me and we can have a conversation is beautiful.
Her daughter loves you. She gravitates towards all the shows.
She's so funny. Like, when she brings it to the show, like, I would say, like, something not good. I'd be like, shit. And then she'd repeat it. And Lindsay's like, I'm going to kill you. And I'd be, like, laughing. And Sage is laughing. And I'd say it again. It was just, yeah. It's fun. It's this show, like I said, like, you build a family.
Is this your first tour that you haven't done in a while now?
I wanted a break last tour. and just I was like, okay, I made the final. It was just a lot, and I've toured all the tours. Like and the tour is so amazing. It's so special because when you're on the TV show, you don't see the feedback, you know. But when you're on the tour, you're dancing in front of them, and after the buses, you know, the fans wait for you. It's so rewarding and it's so special that you. It's really special, and I wanted to just emotionally have a break, and take a pause from the tour. And then this tour, you know, I think they have their peeps.
Would you go out to any dates even just to go see it?
Yeah, absolutely. Last year it was so much fun. I was at a convention and Gleb's like, "Bro, where are you right now?" I was like, "I'm in this." He's like, "Yeah, I just saw. Like, we're here too." I was like, "What? I have a day off." So then it was so cool to go and watch in the audience and backstage and see everyone, and it's great. And you know, the tour is so strong. The dancers are so strong. Mandy Moore, the choreographer, is like on point. She knows exactly what the fans want and always delivers.
When you go out and like if you're seeing it, you see all of your friends out there dancing. Do you get that itch being the performer?
Absolutely. Like you want to get up on there and just bust a move for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's you know, the tour is very special because there's no stress. You know, like compared to the TV show, it's something new. You got to choreograph this. After the first week, you're doing the same thing. Your body's on autopilot. So, and that's what you do. That's what you love. So, you're like, and it's a different city. You know, some cities are quiet, some cities are loud, some cities are moderate. You know, and it's just a different excitement. And you could have like such a chill day of like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get a coffee and this and that, and then it's, you know, you're like, oh, get your body ready. The curtains are closed and the curtains open, and it's like just a roar of people screaming. I think the show is at its strongest right now. The TV show and the tour and everything, the love for Dancing with the Stars is at its strongest right now. So those moments right there are like, oh, that's why I love it, because you get to give back, you get to speak to the fans, you get to hear them say, I started dancing because of you, or you know, when I danced with Selma Blair, so many people came up to me with, you know, crying, like my mum has MS and this has really helped her move. And it was just so special of hearing people's feedback of what's changing, what they're doing different, how you help them. Because, you know, when you're in the season, you're like, I'm here to help one person only, and that is my partner. So when you're out there and you get to see people smile, because there's no wall there, there's no camera, it's just like eyes and applause, and it's so special, and I love it.
Being part of the show for so long, you've seen the highs, the lows, how incredible this season was, and the ratings being compared to 2017. What do you think next season is going to bring to it?
I think the show now is on a roll, and I think it's like, that's it. It's only going to get bigger. I think it's only going to get bigger, and I think after this season, you know, if there were any celebrities that were scared to do it, they would be like, you know what? No, like, I want to give this a go, and I want to do this, and it's going to open up the door to a lot more celebrities, I think.
So many
And
people are putting their feelers out, saying they want to be part of it.
And the amount of like inboxes that I get sometimes from celebrities, I'm like, wow, is this a real person? And they want to do the show, and it's really cool. Like you become part of something, and just, you know, like when you're in it, you don't notice it, but when you're out of it, and you're doing day-to-day things, and people stop you and they're like, we love you and we do this and thank you so much, I'm starting ballroom lessons and this and that, and I was scared to dance, but I'm gonna give it a go. And that's what's so special about it. And yeah.
Are there any celebrity partners for next season that you'd want to be paired with?
Oh yeah, for sure. I would love, Gina Rodriguez, she's so cool. I love her. She's a good friend of mine. She would be so cool on the show. I don't know. Lucy Hale would be amazing. I think anyone that wants to work and wants to put in the time will be great. I think you can build from scratch. And I think this show has started something so special that people want to be a part of it no matter what. So I think the dedication has always been there, but I think even more now. And I think the drive from more celebrities definitely is going to be on the table, and I'm excited.
Are there any dances from this past season that really blew you away?
Yeah, I loved Brandon and Chandler's freestyle. Loved it. It was just so powerful. It had so much in there. It was really fun to watch. You know, it was Brandon's first final, which he did amazing. And it was nice. There was no one in the finals from last year. And I saw that as a comment. And I was like, that's really cool. Everyone's freestyle was so good. It had, anyone could have been the winner. You know, everyone had their own story to tell through the freestyle. And it was one of those seasons where you're like, anyone could win.
Did you plan out a freestyle for you and Jenn?
I did.
What was that going to look like?
It was going to be so cool. But I don't want to say it just in case I want to use it again.
Oh, okay.
It was really cool. It was really, really cool. I was super excited. Again, I'm always looking for something that's like, you know, you always test the waters with props and this and that. And you want your celeb to not just do proppy stuff, but also it's cool to have like a prop involved in it. So I'm always finding fun little things, and I found something for this season. I was like, oh, this is going to be so different. So I don't want to say it just in case. But yeah.
Were you talking with her about it at all, or you don't like to get those ideas in her head?
I never
to focus?
Yeah, I never talked about the prop so much because I know she would get so excited. But I talked about the song, and when I told her the song, she was like, oh, I love this song. I've danced to this song in my room. And I was like, perfect.
What's it like when you guys get eliminated?
Horrible. Oh my God, so horrible. It's horrible because... Sorry, I'm just going to check that just in case it's an emergency. Jen.
What are you saying about me?
Yeah. Getting eliminated is hard because especially so like late into the competition and you've done so many numbers. You know, we were only 2 weeks away from the finale. Yeah, because there was 5 of them. So...
yeah, because it was you guys, then Dwight, and then the 5.
Yeah. So when you say it like that, it was so close. But getting eliminated for the celebrity is hard because we go back and we do opening numbers and this and that, but they're done. And they're like, wow, was that the last time I was at the studio? Was that the like, they miss it. It's hard. So getting eliminated isn't the fun part, but again, it's a competition show and the celebrities know what they're signing up for when they get in. Like, it'd be great if no one was eliminated. That would be epic. We just dance, but it's a competition show, so it's gotta happen.
You guys stayed friends afterwards. Did she, as a coach for you, what did that feel like to find out that she still wanted to keep dancing with you?
It's amazing. And I will help in every possible way I can. Like with Allison, you know, she's like, we went to the dance studio literally like 5 days after.
After your elimination?
Yeah, she wanted to dance. And I was like, yeah, I'll teach you. No, well, we made the final after the season.
Oh.
Yeah, the season was done, wrapped, and this and that. And she's like, I want to keep dancing. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Everyone wants to keep dancing because, like I said, like dance is like a drug. Like once you start moving and you're happy, you're creating, you're moving. It's anything that's going on in the world, dance will clear that for those 2 hours, 3 hours. You will not think of anything but dance. You will be in the moment. You'll be present. And I always say, like, devotion to the motion creates the emotion. So it's not a fake, like, you have to reach. But if you're devoting yourself to the reach, it will create the emotion. So when you are in the dance space and you are in the studio, it's like an escape. And I think that's what people love. That's what I love.
That's what it feels like for you when you're performing?
Yeah. Like when you're on tour and you're doing that show, for those 2 hours or an hour and a half, whatever it is, you are a different person. You are a different character. You can be someone you can't be in the real world. And that's the same with like Dancing with the Stars, because every week you come up with a character, you come up with a story, and you get to be someone you're not.
If you were to do a bumper with any other pro on on this season, who would you want to dance with?
If I was to do a bumper, I would probably do it with my sister from another mother, Danny. Danny and Pasha are like my family. And I love dancing with Danny. Probably do it with Danny. We did one or two, maybe 2 seasons ago. But yeah, definitely probably Danny.
Are you always dancer body ready? Because I feel like all of you guys are so jacked. You're all so ripped because there's so many lifts. You're burning so many calories throughout 4-hour rehearsals.
I hate the gym. I probably haven't stepped in a gym like in my life.
What?
I hate the gym.
You're ripped.
I don't know. And I love McDonald's and KFC. I don't eat it that much anymore, but like I would like.
Is that an Australian thing?
That's
in
an
you?
Australian thing, I think. We love, and Burger King, Hungry Jack's. We have. It's just, I think growing up, KFC is very special to me. I'll tell you why. Growing up, like we would go on a holiday, or like, times were tough. My parents came from Russia with 2 kids, no job, no English. Like KFC was the key. And McDonald's, like that was the easiest food. So I remember like when we would go, like we would have a family dinner. My dad would walk in with like a bucket of KFC. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night. And just that coleslaw and like with the chicken just has this memory to it. And so here and there, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a KFC just to bring me back. And it brings back so many memories. And I have a picture at my house where in Queensland, we're on a holiday. I'll never forget it. My mum's like, we got a hotel with air conditioning. We were like, yes. And we went there and we had KFC and it was on the table and me and my sister and we were just like living life. We were like unstoppable. This chicken is going to change our life. So that's why I think I do that with KFC. It just brings me back to those days.
Are you a big foodie now?
I love food. Love food. Like I said, I love to cook food. But in Australia, the food is an art form, just like dance. Dance is an art form. So that's why I love to make things from scratch. Like it's really cool to grab like whatever's in the fridge and let's make it a beautiful plate.
What style of cooking do you like doing best?
I love seafood. I love steaks. I love trying like making different sauces. And yeah, I think making it from scratch is the key. And sometimes like my fridge is empty and I would be like, okay, I'm going to go just get the ingredients of what I need. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense. I'd just be like, bang, 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 see if this works. And then just like start mixing, start making, getting in the kit, roll the sleeves up. Let's go.
So is that what you're going to be doing for until the next season?
I've got a fun little project. I had to sign an NDA. Is that what it's called?
NDA.
That's it. So that's going to start soon. I'm super excited about that. And I'll be doing dance conventions a lot. And there's a few shows that, charity events that I love to do. There was actually a really cool charity event that I went with a buddy of mine, Eddie and Jenn. It's the midnight shift where for Thanksgiving, we got to go and help out with the homeless because downtown it's rough, So it was beautiful to go there and, we didn't do much, but we got to feed as much as we could, like trash pickup and feed, help serve. And it was just beautiful to see. And I think that put things in perspective of what life is and how you can make someone smile. And that's all you need. And I think that's what I've always been brought up with. Like, I'd rather make someone smile than receive a gift. I'd rather give a gift than receive a gift. And, it was really cool. Like, we weren't the only ones there. Next to Jen was Jennifer Garner. Next to Jennifer Garner was Ben Affleck and her kids. And it was just so nice that that's their tradition.
That's beautiful you gave back.
To a degree, as much as, we didn't really change people's lives, but just serving food and seeing them, like, hold their plate and be like, oh, this tastes good, this is beautiful, can I have extra this? And they're like, one per person, and you know, when they ask you, like, just take the whole thing, we need more of this, you know, like, it's, you just, seeing them smile is beautiful. And then, you know, when they have a dog too, you know, I remember walking where I walk Grinch at the park. There was, you know, a lady that lives in the bush, and she has this dog, and this park was far away from where I was, and that means she walked with her dog and bags and everything for a good hour and 30 one way and back. And I knew exactly where she stays. And I was like, I'm so sorry to bother you. Do you live at this park? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, and there was a sandwich store next to it. I was like, can I buy your sandwich? And she's like, I'd love that. And I was like, and what does your dog eat? And she's like, anything. Because this dog was playing with like a plastic bottle. So I got her a sandwich and I had to run. And I was like, what name? And I was like, the lady's just over there. I don't know her name, but she's going to come in. She's like, we need a name. So I gave her my name. And I was like, I've got to run, but just go in there and say Sasha. And they'll give you the food. And she's like, you can tell like she's been through a lot. And this poor dog is like playing with a bottle, like making sound effects and like having fun. And she's like, this is a prank. I'm like, no, I promise you, there's stuff waiting for you. She's like, why couldn't you just bring it out? I'm like, they're making it. I promise you it's not a prank. I got you. She's like, okay. And I left. I had to go get something. And then on the way back, she was eating her food and feeding the dog. And I walked past. I was like, is it good? And she just like had this smile on her face and like this little tear. And it was so rewarding. I wish I could do more. But, you know, the fact that she wouldn't even trust me, which I get, because, you know, she's like, is it safe to go in there? They're going to kick me out. Like, I'm like, I promise you. And then I was like, just wait here. I'm like, that's the lady. She's going to come in here. Make sure she gets her food. I've got to run. They're like, we got it. So it's those little things. And I want to do more of those things now.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah. And I want to work with, I don't know. I've always wanted to do something with dogs and rescue them. Go over and bring them over to the States, clean them up, teach them, and give them to a beautiful home that they deserve. Because, you know, a dog, an animal can't talk. An animal can't be like, this hurts or that hurts. They just show it through affection, through their eyes, through their body language. And I think that's why I love dogs so much, because no matter what you're going through, no matter what, you know, life isn't easy. We all know that. And no matter what, they're there with you, no matter where you are in life. You could be homeless and you could be on the floor. Those animals will stick with you. And, you know, even like going to there was a riverside shelter, like going there and seeing a dog that's absolutely just frightened, just so scared. And they're like, don't go there. And I was like, oh, I want to just take her for a walk. And I mean, this dog was like scared of the wind. And to think of what this dog went through or saw or did anything, like what made this dog be like this? And I remember like the trust, the bond, like you stop, you take 2 steps, you stop, and you give it a treat. You stop. Well, at first you stop and you bend down, and the dog would just fly. It was a she, like fly away, like scared. And then you're like, is it gonna bite you? What's it been through? What trauma? So slowly you put the treat on the floor. It's not gonna take it off your hand. Then it comes closer. Then you do that 3-4 times, and then the trust builds. And then that only happens in like an hour. I took her for like 20-30 minutes, and within that time, like those eyes, like just the trust. And that's why I love animals so much, and I want to do something to help. Like take them away from where they are, bring them here, bring them to good weather, clean them up, give them the medicine, and give them to a home, because there's so many people out there that need dogs because they go through something. And that's why dogs, cats, animals, they're so loving, because they don't care of what you're going through. You could be this person on the street, this and that, but that dog will never leave your side.
You have 2 dogs?
I have 2 dogs. I would have 10 if I could.
Would they go on tour with you?
Ruby used to go on tour with me because she's tiny.
Yeah.
Ruby's been on so many tours, and she's been in a bus crash. We, at one point we had a bus accident.
Oh, she was on that with you?
Yeah, she went flying. So, and I got her with Haley. Haley and I were walking, and there was a place called Bark and Bitches. Actually, they still run, and I would foster dogs from there a lot. And I saw this little one because I love German Shepherds, and I saw Ruby on the table, and I was like, oh my God, they don't allow you to foster puppies, because they're just so young. And Ruby looked like a little puppy, and I was like, oh my God, I'm calling the owner right now, and I'm FaceTiming, and I'm going to take Ruby home. Didn't know, her name wasn't Ruby at the time. And I was like, can I foster this one? Like, I know she's a puppy. She's like, oh, she's not a puppy. She just looks like one. So grabbed that dog. Well, her name wasn't Ruby then. Brought her home. Me and Haley were like playing with her, and she was just connected to me. Like, absolutely connected. And ever since then, I was like, that's it. She's mine. And the rest is history. She's so sweet, and she scares the big dog. Like, literally,
she's the boss around there.
She's the boss. Like, Grinch won't even come near his own food. If I'm eating and Ruby will be sitting next to me, Grinch cannot come near me. Ruby will be like, which I love, because if Grinch wanted to do something, he would do some damage to a dog like that. And that was my fear of getting another big dog, but it's worked out perfect.
Do you think you'd ever get a third?
I would love to. It's hard with German Shepherds, especially males.
To introduce a new dog into it?
It would have to be a female.
Oh.
Yeah. But again, like, I would, if I could, I would get, like, I would have 10 dogs. I'd be surrounded by animals. And I think they're so great with kids. That's something that I've always, seeing Jen and Val and Lindsay, Pasha and Danny, I think there's something rewarding. And Mark Ballas, there's something rewarding about your own kid seeing you perform. I think that's always been a dream of mine.
To have a family?
To have a family, and to have my son or daughter watch me perform live. I think bring them to the show. So it's so beautiful, when Linz comes with Sage, or Rome comes, or little Nikita. Like, Nikita goes on tour. She was on one tour, and now she's going on a second tour. It's so cool that, she gets to see Pasha and Danny, like, do their thing. And I think even though she's such a little child, she'll always remember that, and there'll always be talks of, like, do you remember seeing Mum and Dad on stage? And even though she won't, there will be there'll be a memory of some sort of, like, yeah, that's epic.
Little Nikita's adorable.
So cute. So cute. She's just a little princess.
I just picture all of them competing in 20 years on the show.
Oh, for sure. This show has so much life in it. And I think after last season in particular, it's like, oh, is this show on its last leg? No way. It's stronger and better than ever.
It's insane because it's become such a streaming world, but it's still, you got to watch it live on TV.
There's something about the live aspect. Like, there's nothing that can... I remember dancing with Simone Biles. She just came off the Olympics. She was like... did the dance, great. But there's just something about that goes on in your head. When they go, the stage manager goes, we're live in 5, 4, 3, applause everyone! And then you hear the music go click, 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 because we have 3 clicks, or depending on the dance, it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The music's gonna start, the first beat, and usually we choreograph a hit on that, And I remember Simone's like, "What does that mean? What does that mean?" I'm like, "The dance, we're starting, let's go." Nothing can prepare anyone for a live show, but once you get the first show out of the way, you get those, oh, this is epic. This is the feeling, you know. And again, like, you know, we had a COVID season where there was no audience. So that was like, felt like a dress run. The dress run, you feel great because there's no like audience. But now with the live show, you know, and there's so many fans out there, there's so many other celebrities coming to support. You're like, oh my God, that person's in the audience and that person's in the audience. And the show's just getting bigger and better, and production wise, it's getting better. And, you know, it's in a really good place. And to get that phone call from Dina Katz to be like, you're on, and not only on, you dancing with Jenn Tran. And again, to build such a bond with Jenn, like, it was like, this would be the perfect rom-com movie. I mean, Netflix, here it comes. Really is.
When you get the call for next season,
I hope.
Would you want to know who you're partnered with, or do you like to be surprised?
Fun fact, sometimes you don't know who your partner is.
They've had seasons where they don't want to tell you.
Well, because unless you know who they're going to be, meaning like you know them, like, because I'm Australian, so sometimes I wouldn't know them.
Right.
They tell you. Or like you're standing there and you're just waiting in this room, like, this door's going to open. This is going to be the next 3 months of your life. It's like a marriage, you know. You are in this, you know. Work doesn't finish when the clock finishes. You go home and you're like, you watch the video back and you're like, okay, what can I make better here? What can I do this? What can I do that? You know, and you're going. So once that door opens, it's like, here we go. This is exciting. This is the next 3-4 months.
Are you showing any of that footage with any other pros just to get other opinions?
We do a show and tell, which I love.
Who do you like doing it with?
Last year we did a lot with Eric. We did a lot with Chandler and Brandon. It's so good for the celebrity to, you know, once you're in the studio and it's just you, there's a different mindset. Like I always say, babe, we got to do it the way you're going to do it on the show. I want to see the performance aspect. And they're like, I'll do it. No. They get shy, and I'm like, I promise you, we got to practice with it, because it's going to put you off guard. You're going to be like, yeah, here we go. And then be like, oh, brain freeze, what's next? Because your body slowly right now, we're building a process of muscle memory. And if that muscle memory feels different, I want it to feel the same that it's going to feel on the show, so you can be aware of everyone. And sometimes a celeb comes off the dance and it's like, babe, how was it? Oh my God, I blacked out. What happened? Not the steps, but like, didn't feel it.
They're just not present.
They're not present. And it's like, you train for hours for the whole week for just that one time. Don't you want to be present? Let's practice being present. Let's practice performing it. So when you are dancing, you're seeing the audience, you're seeing the judges, you're seeing the lights. Like, it's worth it. And a show and tell, that's where sometimes the first show and tell is like, oh, I forgot, because you turn that extra on. And so it's really good every week. Like, we're like, guys, show and tell, who wants to do it? And we get to perform.
Right. Can we fire through some fan questions?
Shoot.
What's it like forming these friendships with their celebrity partners? It's so heartwarming seeing all the celebrities that'll comment and support their pros from after they compete.
It is. That's why I love the show so much, because everyone I've danced with is family. They've come to my birthdays. I've gone to their birthdays. We talk a lot. We're supportive. We check in on each other, because not only do you build a dance relationship, but you build a bond. You build a trust. So I think it's really beautiful. That's what makes Dancing with Stars so special. They're bringing two people that have never met, and they're like, here you go, you're stuck in the room.
From all different walks of life.
From all different
athletes.
Absolutely.
Reality stars.
And they're going, here you go, we're taking you out of your comfort zone, and you're going to learn a whole new different language. And dance is the universal language of the world. So we can't talk through voice. We got to talk through a body. So they're literally, these celebs are learning a whole new language and then doing it on national television. It's amazing.
We love Sasha, the cardigan king. What inspired his love of cardigans?
Guys, I don't know. This is a new thing. I think It was like buy one get 10 free. And I'm like, okay, I love these. I just love the look. I've always been into like vintage stuff. I love like, I don't know, vintage clothes, vintage cars. I've really gotten into my like double espresso, where it's a very like Italian, very European vibe. And I feel like cardigans are very European. Now, do I wear them without a shirt underneath? Yes. Is that European? No. Don't know why I do that. I apologize. But I think the cardigans are just, I don't know. It's a phase.
What would you be doing if you were not on Dancing with the Stars?
If I wasn't on Dancing with the Stars, I would go and try help as many dogs as I could to bring back to life and show them life, and then go back and visit the houses, see how they're going, see the happiness. There's just something special about a dog's eyes. And like I said, dogs can't talk, they can't communicate. So seeing what position they're in and bringing them into a different environment, I think that's what makes it so special. And that's why I love dogs. I love animals. I would open up a zoo.
Biggest culture shock coming to America?
Biggest culture.
KFC's everywhere.
Okay, so in KFC, biggest culture shock is there's no chicken salt in KFC.
What's chicken salt?
Exactly. It's the best thing ever.
It's like you add it on?
Yeah, like, so I would have a meal at KFC not every day, but like after school, like before dance, I'm like, oh, and back then, $5, boom, that would get you so much. They pour it on the chips. You call them fries.
Yes.
On the fries.
Which
and
their thick cut fries are so good.
Oh, so good. I might have to do a drive-by after this. And it was just like chicken salt is so good. But culture shock, I mean, that's one thing. But I think in Australia, we grow up watching all these movies.
American movies?
American movies. And being like in Hollywood, you're like, wow, this is it. That was like a big culture shock. And like doing all those tours, like this person lives here, this person lives there, this is blah, blah, blah. This is Hugh Hefner's house. And it's like really cool being on those tours with mum and dad. And I remember Crystal Hefner contacted me to do lessons. And I was like, cool. What's the address? She's like, do you mind doing it at the gym? We have a gym at the house. I was like, cool. I remember looking at the address and I was like, this is the mansion. This is really cool. And I remember like, oh, wow, this is one of those moments. I remember driving by here. I was like, this is Hugh Hefner's house. And now like going in there and teaching Crystal Hefner. And again, like she stayed a friend, just teaching her. And she always comments on everything. And she's doing beautiful things in Hawaii for charities and building houses. And yeah, like you build those bonds. But that's a culture shock. Like just seeing, there was an old studio called IDA. Dance Academy. I think it was on Hollywood. And one street over is the scene from Pretty Woman, the actual balcony where right at the end where, he comes in on the horse with the flowers and then he takes the umbrella and like pushes the staircase down. That was like right there. So like you walk out of the studio and then you go like, oh, I need to go watch that scene again. There's so many places here in LA that it's like, and you speak to people back at home, like, and they're like, oh, wow, you saw this person and you saw this person. And you're like, that's really cool. Like being a part of that and seeing that. And that's a big culture shock. And you're like, oh, this is epic.
Have you visited Crystal in Hawaii?
No, we've spoken. She lives down the street. Like we're almost neighbors. And again, neighbors with Selma. Like I've known Selma for a while now, and she's such an incredible actress. And I remember she came over and I watched The Sweetest Thing in Russia. And then seeing like I have a video actually, like we're watching the TV screen and she's like on the TV, like watching the movie, and I'm like, who do we have here? And she's like saying the lines before the lines are being said. And again, like Eric Roberts, such a fan. Like I watched his martial arts movies, Best of the Best. He was so big in Australia and Russia. I remember going to like the video stores, Blockbuster, and we had a place called Video Easy. They don't exist anymore. And you'd go with your dad and be like straight to the martial arts section, and like Eric Roberts was like in most of those movies. So just seeing him and having a picture with him and talking to him, he's such a nice guy, him and his wife. And he would always be like, what was he say? Super cat. No, there was always something you'd walk past and you'd be like, hey, sweet cat, or something like superstar. And he's just so down to earth, but like so surreal. Like, that is Eric Roberts. I watched him and I'm like, I watched you in Best of the Best. And then we would like repeat the lines like, Tommy, pop the shoulder from the movie that he did. I was like, iconic. And that's the thing, like the show, you get to meet so many iconic people that you have to stay like really calm. Like, this person is epic. I remember Chris Kattan. Love that guy. I remember I was doing a competition.
Night at the Roxbury.
Not at the Roxbury. Come on. I was doing a competition and I was on a bus in Miami. And I flew from Australia to do this competition. It was the USBC at the Fontainebleau. And someone's like, are you Chris Kattan? And I was like, did they just think I'm Chris Kattan? And I was like, no. Yes, from the movie. And I dressed up as him as Halloween, you know, and I have so many, like, loved that movie. Like, me and a buddy of mine, we would recite the whole movie. And when he was on the show, I was like, wow, that's Chris Kattan. And again, like, you become friends. I would message him randomly and be like, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And he would randomly message me just like, meow. Like, he's just so funny. And he's like, hey, I'm doing stand-up. Come to watch my show. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Got to go see him. Like, you just build these bonds with people. It's amazing.
I had Crystal over here once. Did you read her book?
I have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one. She gave it to me. I haven't read it yet. Yeah. She's so nice.
So nice.
So down to earth. Great dancer.
Did she compete on the show?
No, she just wanted to learn.
You taught her at Playboy Mansion?
I remember driving up to the gate and it was like surreal because the gate's like closed. And as you're driving, people are like taking photos because the star buses are coming through. And I was in my troupe days and pro days. I was more troupe than pro. And they're like, how can we help you? So I was like, Sasha? And then slowly the doors go, open up. And I was like, they're like, just drive forward, sir. I was like, yep. It was beautiful there. I remember. We did it in the gym. We taught her a cha-cha, a bit of salsa. She just wanted to move. I think dance is such a... It's just... And I say this to my celebrities all the time. Like, it's such a feel-good. Even though you're working and it's so hard what these guys are doing. But I always say, like, listen, when do people dance? Like, when they're in their head and they're like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm like, just let's remember why you're doing this. Like, when do people dance? Where? When do they, like, give me an explanation of when do you see people dance?
Celebrations.
Parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs. It's always a celebration. That's what makes it, like, you know, you zone out.
Such
like,
a feel-good.
Feel good, move your body. Even though people can't dance, just by moving your body, is rewarding. So I'm like, and I always say that to all the celebrities, I'm like, you just remember that. You're doing something that makes you feel good. When you're in your head and you're like, this is so hard, I can't do this. And again, you know what doesn't help sometimes is social media. You know, I'm all about positive. And sometimes, you know, I'm like, do not read comments. Just let's stay in the game and go for it. And sometimes those comments could like make or break someone. And, you know, some celebrities are really good at it and some not so much because they get in their head and this and that and they second guess everything. And that's what it's like. No matter what, with good, there has to be bad. With bad, there has to be good. And, you know, people that write stuff, they don't know their story and how hard it is to get to where they're getting. So it's important to look at everything. Just let's stay in the lane and go for it, because yeah, the celebs read that and it's like, I put so much hard work, and for someone to write that was horrible, they should be eliminated, you know, do they feel better? Like, does that make them feel better? Or would they rather be like, trying good, keep it up? You know, I would rather that aspect of someone saying that to someone, because in case they do read it.
Right.
And that could make or break. So, you know, sometimes you read things and you're like, and I read things, you know, about other people and me and this and that. And I'm like, was that there to hurt me? Was that there to, did they know that, like, that would hurt my partner? And I wouldn't want them to read that. I would rather keep moving forward. Positive feedback, because that's what, there's so much negative in this world. There's like so much going on. And that's why Dancing with the Stars is so special, because it's a feel good. You're moving, it's happy, it's stress, but it's good stress because you're seeing growth. And sometimes like social media can be like a downfall on them, because they're reading and it's like, God, they hate that, or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, don't worry, like, you're doing great. Just know that. That's all you need to know.
The feel good is what attracted me to the show so much, because you guys are all competing, but you're competing really against yourselves rather than other people. So when one person gets eliminated, yeah, it's a bummer, but it's not like cheering someone else on. It's such a different feeling of a show. So
different. And the best parts are when we get to the team dances. You know, like, you get to everyone be in the same room. Like, usually you're in a studio, you're not getting to see or work with the other pros, celebs. So when you're in team dance, it's like, oh, this is so much fun. Like, and also too, like, when the judges come in and visit, you know, these celebrities have a thing like, oh my God, the judges, they don't get to talk to them, because it's either blah, 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 you did great, work on this, that, next. You know, there's no time. So when the judges come in, they're like, oh, they're just humans. They want to help you. They want to see progress. So it's, you know, nice when we have like the judges come into the studio and they're like actually talking face to face and having a conversation. And it breaks that wall of like, oh, they're actually really nice.
How do you think the show changed from when you were first on to now?
Oh, gosh. I think the show is back to what it was because of Conrad Green and Dina Katz. They brought it back. They brought it back to life. I mean, to get those numbers since season 17, so since 2017, they got the same numbers. I mean, this television world is so different now because of streaming and this and that. And to get the demographic, the numbers, it's just like, I think it feels like it's just starting. It feels like the show is just premiering. There is so much hype. There's so much, like, the amount of people that stop me now and have so many beautiful stories through dance because of Dancing with the Stars. And then I think back and I'm like, wow, when I started ballroom dancing, I would get the shit beaten out of me, but I still loved it. And now conventions want ballroom dancing involved in it, which is like unheard of. And, you know, conventions are basically specific styles of, like, you know, contemporary, jazz, hip hop. Now it's like, let's invite ballroom. And when you are at those conventions, the ballroom classes are packed. And it's so cool to see these young kids. Like, when I would teach a class, there's so much love. And I only get an hour with them. There's so much love and passion and dedication. And, you know, Hollywood Vibe does such a great job of securing the vibe. Their name is them. They do this special, like, it's just, again, it's like a family. So, you know, once they learn the combo, they want to, like, let's perform it, play the music, watch this. There's so much, like, hype about ballroom dancing. And that's all because of Dancing with the Stars.
How many more seasons would you want to do?
Listen, as long as they would have me, for sure, because every season is new. You don't get bored. You don't get stale. Every season is new. You open up a new can of worms. You have a new celebrity. You have a new story. So every season you go, okay, let's sit down. Tell me what you're afraid of. What are your stories? What would you want to get out of this show? What made you do the show, most importantly? You know, sometimes a celeb's like, I am afraid of dancing. And you're like, perfect. This is where your insecurities, not only will you become stronger just from being on the show, but just in general life, you'll feel stronger, you'll feel healthier, you'll feel more power. And that's why, you know, positivity is like key for the show.
What do you think Jenn took away from this season from dance?
I think, I mean, it's a fairy tale ending. I think she has never danced before, and I think watching it back, she looked like she's a dancer and judged as she's a dancer, and I love that. I love that because the beginning of the week, like it is night and day, but she trusts the process. Like she knows that, okay, this isn't looking good right now, but it's going to look good and we're going to work on it. And she loves dance, like loves. She wants me to teach her like all the dances she didn't get to do. And every celebrity goes through that. Every celebrity goes through that and is like, I want to just keep going. And that's the key. You just got to keep going. And Jenn has definitely taken, she came to the show from a really interesting scenario where she was broken. She was down. And I was usually, your partner is the one that brings you up. And that's the love that I love about this show. You get to like lift someone's spirit. But I was like, oh, she's coming from this. How am I going to maneuver around this to get her spirits up and like forget what just happened? Let's stay in the... She did that all herself. She's like, one door closed, one chapter closed in my life. It wasn't the best scenario. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm going to be here and I'm going to be focused and I'm going to treat this as like my reborn, like my up, like let's be happy and not be like, oh, God, this is going to be so hard. I've never danced before. People are going to judge me and this and that and the comments are this and so many factors go into the show. I didn't have to do any of that. She was just ready to go, happy, eager, always there at rehearsals, always wanted to practice longer. I'm like, okay, you need a break because, you've never danced before. She was feeling pain in her toes, her hips, her back, and she was great.
She's still trying to learn dance moves now with you?
Yes, she's still like, she's definitely trying to learn dance moves. And, I feel like with Jenn, I've only known her for 3 months.
Which is so crazy to think about.
Crazy. And that's her calling me. Let's have a look. Jenn,
Pick it up.
Should I pick it up?
Yeah.
Oh, she hung up. She is just, I feel like I've known her for 3 months and and I've known her my whole life. And I've been like that with all my partners. Like Allison, there is not a day that goes by that we don't talk for at least 30 minutes. I would get texts from Mary Lou Retton, pictures of her daughter having babies, and pictures of our other dancers and how much she misses it. Tonya Hardy messages me and is like, I'm fit and ready to go. Put me in, coach.
Has she ever brought you to her turf, Tanya? Ice
skating?
Yeah.
No, because she was banned from ice skating rings. Oh. And that was my thing. I was like, let's give her a second chance. Let's put her in and like, let's do it. And, at one point when we made the finals, I was talking to Dina and Dina's like, never going to happen, but you can try. And I was like, Tonya, would you be up for sharing your final with someone? And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, like, let's put everything under the bridge. Would you be interested to, if we contacted Nancy Kerrigan and said, Nancy also did the show, she didn't make the final. And I was like, you know what? You both deserve to be in the final. Would you be interested in sharing that final with her and getting her in the finale? You two together, making amends, like just making history on the dance floor. Let's do it. Tanya cried and she's like, I would love nothing more. Like, let's. Didn't happen. But the fact, like, she's like, absolutely, let's do it. Everyone on the show just falls in love. And, you can tell by everyone in the audience. It's the past competitors, like the other day, AJ from Backstreet Boys was in there. And you meet everyone, like literally Danica was there. I remember we had a team dance last season. Ariana was obsessed with Backstreet Boys, and we were doing everybody. I can't sing. And I was like, ooh, what can I do to surprise them? And I was like, I called AJ, because, you know, when you're on the show, like, you become friends. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, maybe he was in Europe or Canada. I'm like, we're doing everybody. I want to surprise Ariana and the cast. Can you just walk into the studio and give us some tips? They would freak. He's like, bro, I'm in. Count me in. Like, it's so family orientated that he's like, I'm flying in. I'll go straight from the airport to the studio. What times are you there? I was like, I got to make sure we're rehearsing as a team that time. And it worked out perfect. He came in, Ariana was like, oh my God. You know, that's what's special about the show. You can see the past competitors. They just love it. And everyone's like, would love to see an all-star season. They just want to get another chance, because for us, we do it. And we get to do it again and again. But for them, it's like, it's one and done. So they're so like, oh, give me, because they already know the dances. They already know, like, not the choreography, but they know the fundamentals, the basics that you need to maneuver for each dance.
Right. Did Jenn have any interest in doing the tour?
She did. She wanted to do the tour. But I think, you know, they got people that were like in the finals. And,
right.
She was devastated, but, which is normal, you know, for the tour. They always bring
the finalists.
Yeah. And it's going to be a great tour, but at my conventions, I always do a performance. So I don't know, maybe I'll be like, okay, Jen, maybe I need to speak to Vibe, be like,
that's okay.
Maybe we can do a little surprise performance. We'll see.
So coming up, what else do you have? You have the conventions.
I have the conventions. I have this thing that I'm working on that they made me sign.
The NBA.
I want to open up. I'm working with a company, maybe doing a dog treat, cha-cha treats, organic, clean treats for the dogs.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So,
did you start that already?
We were in the process, but then I got onto the season, and they're like, we got to source this, and I'm like, this is like, because everything happened so last minute with me.
Are your dogs the test subjects to try them?
My dogs will eat anything. But they definitely are. We're going to do a little picture with me, Grinch, and Ruby. And it's going to be like a dance, kind of like a cha-cha treat and a samba treat. And just a treat that is healthy, clean, and sourced from organic.
Cool. Very exciting.
Yeah.
When do you think the NDA stuff will come out?
I think maybe end of the year.
End of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you so much for making the time.
Oh my God. Thank you for having me.
This has been incredible.
This has been, P.S. This is my first podcast ever. I'm scared of podcasts because there's a lot that happens in my life that has happened in my life. And, you know, it's important that it stays kind of like, I don't know, secret. So I'm always scared of like, oh, what if they ask me this? Or what if they ask me that? And this has been great. Like, you've been awesome. I love it.
Thank you so much. And the response when I said that you were going to come on has been so overwhelming.
Aww.
So the fact that you did open up really does mean a lot to me and to a lot of people. So thank you so much for that.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Cool. Guys, Sasha's links are going to be linked down below. Sasha Farber 1.
Yes.
All platforms? TikTok too?
Hey, I've joined a TikTok.
Yeah, I know. You're posting now.
I am actually on TikTok, and at TikTok it's just at Sasha Farber.
Cool.
Sasha Farber 1 on Instagram was taken.
Yes.
Like, damn it. What can I do? Sasha Farber 1, or like Sasha 1, not comma, exclamation mark. And I was like, that's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Sasha Farber 1? We're going to that.
Going with that. It's going to be linked down below. Go subscribe. Go follow. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Lightweights out. That was so good.
Oh, thanks for having me.